Back here on HQ Spotlight, week 2 of the NFL kicks off tonight, but we got to go and reflect on bold predictions.
Love a reflection.
From week 1 from Pete Prisco. You know our guy loves Baker Mayfield. He had him throwing for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was a miss. Matthew Golden with 8 receptions, 2 touchdowns, also a miss. But hey, you know what hit? The Bills and the Ravens both scoring 30 points. Hope you hammered the over in that one. So Pete, for bold predictions for week 1, went 1-3. Also, shout out to BMAC, who went a big 0 for 3. So Pete's already got a leg up on BMAC. We got to give credit where credit is due. So we have Pete Prisco back with us. Same with Leger Douzable. We're going to do bold predictions for week 2, gentlemen. And we're starting with an NFC North matchup here with the Lions and the Bears. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the season. Pete, what is the bold prediction for this matchup?
This might not sound that bold considering they are the Detroit Lions, but based on what we saw last week, it's really bold because they were dreadful on offense last week. And so I think they bounce back and score 30 or more points in this game. I really do. I think when you look at what they did last week, they were mauled up front. Their offensive line, which is in flux, they changed over a bunch of guys. Frank Ragnow retired. Graham Glasgow went to center. They got 2 new starting guards, and they played like it. They didn't get much push. And if they can't run the ball, that's a problem. This week, they'll run the ball, and I think they score over 30 against the Bears. So I'm going with, it might not sound bold, but it's bold. 30 points, maybe 35.
Jacqueline, me and Pete have been doing this for like a year and a half, and he always gets on me when we do this about not having my predictions be bold enough. This isn't bold, Pete. This was like the #1 offense in football last year. Now I know they got 2 new coordinators, but they were bad last week. But again, they're playing the Chicago Bears, and we saw what J.J. McCarthy did to them in the second half, more specifically the fourth quarter. I feel like with John Morton getting his feet wet as an offensive coordinator, Jared Goff, they still have all those weapons there. They'll figure it out on offense. I don't think that's that bold.
Oh, okay.
All right, make it 40. Make it 40. Is that bold?
There we go.
We'll edit it. All right,
Okay.
30, scoring 30 against the Bears. All right, Leger, you're talking a big game about how Pete's not bringing the boldness here, so we'll see what you got in the bag. We're talking about the Jets and the Bills. We had this conversation yesterday with Josh Allen and like some amount of picks that he's thrown in his career at MetLife facing the Jets. So what you got for us?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Pete finds this bowl. I have the Jets rushing for over 220 yards versus the Bills defense that just gave up 238 to the Ravens. Now, to me, this is bold because, Pete, you know the last time the Jets did that was 2018. Isaiah Crowell was the running back. He went for 219 versus the Denver Broncos. So you're talking about 7 years ago was the last time the Jets ran for over 220 yards. I think Justin Fields and that guy right there, Breece Hall, has a big day against that Buffalo defense that really struggled to stop the run.
Well, I mean, Ed Oliver isn't a walking boot today, in case you're wondering. I mean, how bold is it? He's in a walking boot. He's their best interior defensive lineman, and he's probably not going to be able to go in this game. Come on, Leger. 220. I mean, if you said 250, I'll give you bold. 220. Come on, 250.
They haven't done it since 2018, Pete.
Well, that's not even a decade ago. What are you doing? That's not even 10 years ago.
Leger, Pete went up. He raised the number. He went beating them by 40.
We'll say 250. Okay. Pete said 250. He did the number 2. We'll go 250.
I feel like I'm like an auctioneer. They're like, give me 30, give me 40, 220, 250. Like, whatever. We'll take it. This is why we're getting bold, right? All right, we're going to go to the Jags-Bengals game, which is also on CBS. Pete, we have a bold prediction for our guy BTJ. I love to hear this.
Well, you know what? He has not had a great summer. And I'm going to be 100% honest about that. I thought he was ready to go to the next level and be in that conversation as one of the top receivers in the league with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and that kind of crew after what we saw last year. But he didn't have a great summer. He dropped a lot of passes in practice. They were concerned about that. He didn't win a lot of 50-50 balls in training camp. They were concerned about that. And then he didn't practice that well leading up to the season. And so all of a sudden the games come, and he had 1 catch last week. Now, he was missed on an overthrow by Trevor Lawrence, but he needs to be better. He needs to be more impactful, and I think that starts here. When you look at their offense, they ran the ball a ton last week. I think they'll still want to run the ball, play power football, but that's going to open up some shots down the field for Brian Thomas. And you know the Bengals, they play a lot of man-to-man coverage. I think they're going to try and, stop the run and give him some opportunities. He gets 110 and 2 touchdowns in this game. Brian Thomas is back.
All right, so Pete Prisco saying it there, a big game for BTJ and the Natty. Let's go to the Dolphins because they had a rough season opener, lost 33-8 to Daniel Jones and the Colts. They're going to try to bounce back against the Patriots. I think Dolphins fans are going to be very happy with your bold prediction, Leger.
I guarantee Pete thinks this is bold because I have Tua Tagovailoa bouncing back. 300 pass yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Now, this New England defense really struggled last week. I believe Geno Smith threw for over 360 yards against them. Christian Gonzalez doesn't seem like he's going to be healthy enough to play yet as well. And everybody's dumping on the Miami Dolphins, but they get to come home to their safe place, right? Tua plays significantly better at home. Him and Tyreek Hill will get on the same page. Him and Jalen Waddle will get on the same page. Now, their offensive line is banged up, so that is a concern. But again, the Patriots didn't play well on either side of the ball last week. Again, everybody's dumping on the Miami Dolphins right now. I like Tua Tagovailoa. This is bold. 300 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that's pretty bold, Leger. All right, let's go to the Raiders and the Chargers game. Pete, we're looking at rookie Ashton Jeanty for your bold prediction here.
The Chargers looked great last week, and I know they're much improved on the defensive side of the ball, but I think the Raiders can move the ball through the air, and this week they're going to move the ball on the ground. I think Jeanty gets it going. We didn't see the best of him last week, and nor did they need him to be the best that he can be. This week they will, and I think he'll show it off. I think he goes for 100 and a touchdown and looks like the guy they drafted and expected when they drafted him early in the first round. So I'm going to go Jeanty 101.
All right, and he's the 6th Raider, by the way, since 1970 to get his first rushing touchdown in his first career game. All right, back to the Jags-Bengals matchup. Pete gave us a bold prediction for the Jacksonville side of things with BTJ. So, Leger, you're going to give us a bold prediction for Joe Shiesty. What you got?
Joe Shiesty, 350 pass yards and 3 touchdowns. And people will say the numbers he put up last year, this isn't that bold. But he's coming off a game where he threw for under 120 yards and only had 1 passing touchdown. The defense essentially led them to that win versus the Cleveland Browns. So I think they get things going on the offensive side. Jamar Chase really wasn't heard from last week. Neither was T. Higgins. I believe Joe Burrow back at home gets it going with his offense. Pete, we talked about this all the time. For some reason, there's always one team, one quarterback, that's their ailment. And for Joe Shiesty, it's the Cleveland Browns. Now he's back in the confines of his home, and he's going to feast on this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. 350 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know if that's that bold, to be honest with you. And if you look at his history against teams outside the division, he puts up those kind of numbers. It's the teams inside the division that give him problems. So I don't know if that's that bold. But you know what? Travis Hunter's going to play a lot more corner. In fact, I expect him to be a starter at corner. It'll be interesting to see if he matches up with T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. If they double Jamar Chase, that's going to be fun to watch. But that's not that bold, Leger. Come on, 350? That's like
what, I got to say 375, 400?
You might as well. We've been doing it the whole segment, Leger. Yeah. Let's raise it just a little
375, 3 touchdowns.
Come on, do I hear 400? Do I hear 400? Let's get the
400 is.
Do I get the 420?
Yo, Josh Allen threw for 394, and it looked like he threw for 500 on Sunday night.
Do I have 4? Do I have 4? Do I have 4 touchdowns? I have 4 touchdowns over the quarter. Come on, BJ.
Pete, were you an auctioneer in another lifetime? I feel like you were. Leger, yeah. What about 395?
I used to watch
395.
395. Okay, we got a 395 from Leger. So we're gonna have to go back and edit this for the graphics' sake, so we can go back and look at the actual records of the bold predictions. We got to get these numbers all right because we've raised everything. Pete, Leger, we appreciate it. Week 2 bold predictions. How do you like that for some bold predictions?
Did you hear Pete say his inspiration was Storage Wars? That's how
I missed that, but that's absolutely amazing. Love that. Storage Wars fan. Let's go, Pete. All right. Week 2, NFL on CBS. Loaded slate, Bills, Jets, Broncos, Colts. And you can watch all the action on Paramount Plus as well. We'll see how bold things get in Week 2.